I think Right to Know Day is really important because it gives governments a chance to look back and see how they've implemented their freedom of information law. It gives the citizens a chance to learn about the right, and more public education is really critical about the right to know. So I think the day really brings focus and attention to our right to information, and it allows people all over the world to think about how we can push for more transparency and accountability all around the world.
Would you like a glass of water? Do you know what's in this glass of water? Or even better, would you have the right to ask your government what is in the water that comes out of your tap? Or for that matter, what's in the air that you breathe around you, or the food you eat? Today is the Right to Know Day, and today is the day that you should be out there asking your government for these rights, because we need to know what we drink, what we eat, and what we breathe, and what is in it. Right to information is so important for the way we live our lives, so that we can bring up our children in safety and in comfort and provide them with the nutrition that they need. Go out there, ask for the freedom of information.
So I work on a project called the Governance of Forests Initiative, and one of the things that we focus on the most is making sure that rural communities and Indigenous people understand their rights, and specifically the rights that they have with regards to land use and land ownership and tenure questions. A lot of times in the countries where we work, they don't have access to information about their rights and whether or not they're allowed to use lands in certain ways, or whether if people come up to them and want to use their forests or use that land for different uses if they're allowed to say no. So for that reason, I think access to information is extremely important so that they can stand up for their rights, essentially.
Right to know is a fundamental right that allows every citizen, every person, to level the playing field. They don't have to know someone special in the government to get their way, and they don't need to pull certain buttons or pay bribes. And for that, freedom of information is the backstop that makes sure that everyone can have that right to know and can be able to access all of that information. So when we work for freedom of information, we're not just working to make sure that every special interest group gets this way, but it's also a way of us making sure that everyone is able to enjoy a certain set of fundamental rights more equally.
Well, I guess when I think of freedom of information, I think of it more as a human right, and less as just something that should be in legal documents. You need freedom of information in order to make informed decisions. You need information in order to decide how you're going to react to something. And it's important in land tenure and property rights, which is the area that I work in, because a lot of times people don't know what their rights are. They don't have the information to make informed decisions, or to register their land, or to properly register their land.
Access to information is an important right that is part of the freedom of expression right, but it is also important to the exercise of many other rights, such as the right to life, for example, because if you don't have access to health information or environmental information or government information even, it's very difficult for you to exercise other rights, as civil rights and political rights even, and yeah.
Freedom of information is important, especially for a country like the Philippines that has a lot of governance challenges where transparency and access to information and public participation is extremely limited. Information, I've always believed, is power. So if you have the right information at the right time at the right place, I think people are able to intervene in critical decision-making processes. I come from a country that is a democracy, but still has a lot of marginalized and vulnerable populations, and able to participate in decision-making and also in crafting their future and their development paths. And a huge part of that is because they're not informed and they're not aware, and they are not able to participate in local, national, and regional processes that are being initiated by government and the various ministries.
Well, my experience has been primarily in Africa, and Africa does not have a lot of comprehensive ATI laws. Maybe 5 or 6 countries have comprehensive laws. So we've had to rely on the information provisions in the natural resource and the sectoral laws in order for NGOs that we work with and citizens that we work with to get some information that is critical to citizen government accountable or ensuring that they get fair benefits from natural resources. Many of those provisions are inconsistent across natural resource laws. Some of them don't have any provisions. Some provisions are quite restrictive. And so we've had real trouble in some cases, particularly with high-value natural resources, oil and minerals. And, having a comprehensive ATI law would be incredibly helpful in setting a standard in those countries